It is April 10th, and we are once again alone together. We're spending this time together to really create that connection between the center point of peace and the rest of our lives as we navigate the challenges and the dysregulation and the new information that is facing us on a regular basis. And that can really make a lot of us feel ungrounded. You know, what helps me to stay grounded is my commitment to being peaceful and clear and speaking my truth. And I hope that's the same for you. I mean, each one of us has to determine what our values are and what keeps us grounded. And, you know, my vows are to save all sentient beings, no matter how impossible that seems. And, you know, it's a really good time to evaluate your vows, evaluate your commitments, evaluate your values, and recommit to them. So my name's Sarah McLean, and I'm talking to you from Santa Barbara, where everybody is really complying with the stay at home. Except for me, I go to the beach and walk my dog, and then today I went to the grocery store because I needed some stuff. And today, you're not allowed in the grocery store without a mask. I didn't know if you have that at where you live, but you have to have your gloves and your mask, and you can only go one way. They have one-way signs down each aisle and marks on the floor where you have to stand apart from other people. And, you know, every day is a little different. Today there was, I don't know why they turned the music off in the grocery store, but it really adds to that solemn sort of environment and vibe that's going on. And I think people are, you know, first face this time as like a great adventure. Other people are still relishing in that pause button, whereas some people are just really suffering, whether they're not living in a helpful home environment or they're really dealing with some financial worries. So my heart goes out to them, and let's take a moment and just to close our eyes, become mindful, being present with what's going on right here. And then sending a prayer for peace to all the disenfranchised, beautiful souls that are doing their best to navigate this time with health, trying to take care of their families, trying to pay their bills, trying to have enough food to eat, trying to deal with their pain and their anxiety. So may all beings be peaceful and at ease. May all beings feel safe and secure. May all beings be taken care of without taking away their liberty, their right to happiness. May all beings be happy. So my commitment is to peace. My commitment is to being peaceful and being clear. And so if your eyes are still closed, you can open them or keep them closed. I found this prayer, you probably have seen this or heard this before called the Desiderata. It was found in Old St. Paul's Church in Baltimore. It said it was written in 1692. I don't know if any of that's true, but that's what's in my notes. And let me read it to you, and maybe it's good advice. I mean, it's from the 17th century. Maybe it still applies today. A lot of things do. So go placidly among the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons, as they are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble, It is real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly to the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should be. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations. In the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham and drudgery and broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. Be careful and strive to be happy. So many great lines in here. I love this one. Be gentle with yourself. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. So that's what I think meditation really gives us the opportunity to do, is to practice being gentle with ourselves, to get to know ourselves as lovely beings, even if we behave badly sometimes, that you can still love yourself in all of your humanity, and love yourself even through the challenges, the distress, the anxiety, the panic, the loneliness, that feeling of giving up, which I really sensed today. On my walk today on the beach, there was a man, I don't know how he got there, because it's not close to any, you have to drive to this beach. I think someone set him up over there. He was sitting under a tent, which I don't think in his condition he could have put together. He had a giant bottle of vodka, and it was 9 o'clock this morning, and that vodka was pretty much gone. And he was waving to me. I'm the only one on the beach, and with my dog and my husband, and he's waving and he's waving. And so I went up to him. I said, Marty, my husband, come with me. Let's just say hello to this man. I mean, he is a human being. He is a child of God, just like you and me. And, you know, you could tell he was having a challenge. And but he introduced himself to me. He wanted to touch me and hug me. And I said, we're keeping social distancing. But I really tried to look right through him into his eyes and be there for him. And he was really lonely, and he was really drunk. And, you know, I just stood there with him and just recognized him. I think we all want to be seen and heard, regardless of what this costume is we're wearing on the outside or how we're behaving. He introduced himself as Ricky, and he was having a beautiful day as far as he told me. So I believed him, and we went on. But, you know, I think each one of us has to bear witness to the challenged, to the people who are having a hard time, and give them a break. You know, maybe they don't have Zoom. Maybe they don't have a meditation practice. Maybe they don't have a way to self-soothe other than maybe a bottle or some drugs or whatever ways people do it. And I think, you know, maybe that's his way of being spiritual. Being on the beach, you know, what a beautiful way to get there and be there. Anyway, I really felt a lot of compassion for him. And I know a lot of people are suffering. I could see that in the store where I went right after that. And, you know, I think we have to take care of the people that we are coming across or that are in our path, however narrow our path is these days. So just bearing witness to them, seeing them, and recognizing, just like me, just like you, they want to be happy, they want to be fulfilled, they want to be loved. And just like me and you, they have things they're embarrassed about, things they're ashamed of, aspects of their life they'd rather forget. dreams that have been crushed. And yet, we're all here. We're all just walking each other home, for sure, as Ram Dass likes to say. So I don't mean to be somber. I know that we are going to have a beautiful time together meditating. Some of you saw before you got on the call that I was sharing the 5 essentials to meditation, which I shall do again right here. And I want to go over them with you for a few minutes before we start to meditate. And thanks for saying hello in the chat box. Happy life. Yeah. What was it? The candle? What's that, Kurt? Candle next to me made by my wife, and she suggested it for these. It's got a small quote. Okay, you have to tell us what it is. Oh, thank you for seeing the inherent dignity and worth in everyone. Well, you know what? Everybody's got it, no matter what they're wearing, what their employment is, if any. A lot of people are now living in their cars near here, and I live in a pretty decent neighborhood, and a lot of people just can't function right now. Anyway, yes, there is dignity and worth in you and me and everyone around us. But here are the 5 essentials that we're going to be dealing with in the middle of meditation. I don't know if you can read the small print, but I think you can see the big print if you're not calling in. And first is, it's okay to have thoughts during meditation. So as we sit down to meditate, which we will in a moment, your mind is going to travel. Maybe it's going to travel to the story I just told you, or to somebody who's in need in your neighborhood. And that's perfectly fine. Your job in meditation is to train your attention to keep coming back again and again and again to the focus of the meditation. What this does is it helps you to be in charge of your attention. It helps to settle the nervous system, and so that you can really hone your ability to pay attention and to have the default executive function instead of the default fight or flight experience. So the executive function is in your neocortex, which is rational and clear and connected, versus the amygdala, which is fearful and frightened and wants to flee or fight. So we want to practice meditation so that we can have that PFC, prefrontal cortex, be in charge of how we move through the world. Secondly, we want to be kind to yourself. We're going to talk about the brain again. What you pay attention to and how you pay attention shapes your brain. It's called neuroplasticity, neuro meaning nervous system. And of course, there are the peripheral nerves, but we're really talking about your brain in this case. How what you pay attention to has a direct effect on, I'm going to shut my phone off, has a direct effect on your ability to change your brain. If you want to see beauty, you'll find it, and then your brain will be wired for it. If you want to feel better about yourself, be kind to yourself in meditation, and your brain will be wired for it. So this is important, to be kind to yourself in meditation. Don't try too hard, because trying is, it is part of the mental activity. You're trying to have a certain experience, you're trying to settle your mind. That's activating the mind, or the brain itself, literally. So let go of trying, and let's just have a gentle effort. Let go of expectations, because every meditation is different. You don't know what I'm going to do next. We're going to start with mindfulness. We'll probably end with chimes and mindfulness. And let's see what we'll do. I think we'll do a mindfulness practice as we do, mostly focusing on the breath, and then maybe do our white flower petal meditation. We'll see. And then stick with the practice. I know we're together here. There are over 30 of us, and we'll meditate for about 15 minutes. Sometimes it goes over a little bit. And if you can stick with the whole thing, that is what really, again, makes the amygdala a little less dominant, when you can stick with the whole practice. Okay, so thank you for being here. What is the name of the singer that I played yesterday at the 4 p.m. meditation? It could have been either Deva Premal, Kathy Zavada, or India Ari. I'm not sure what the song was, because I played some before and then some after. I can't remember. Anyway, I wish I could. All right, shall we meditate? You feel ready? Okay, I'm muting you, just to be sure. Okay, let's get comfortable wherever you're seated. Get cozy and comfortable, as my friend Susie says in the 9 a.m. meditations. Get cozy. Find your spot. Get that support you need underneath you and behind you. Make sure your phone's turned off, unless you're on it with me. And then you can either close your eyes or gaze down towards the floor, and you put your hands as wherever feels comfortable to you. Let's take a moment once again to tune into how you're doing. Tune into your initial intention for being here today. Maybe it's to connect with your community that you've come to know and love here. Maybe it's to let your nervous system settle, or maybe it's to become enlightened. Who knows? Every intention is fine. And letting your attention rest on your intention. Attention is energy. Intention is information. And inherent in every intention are the seeds for its manifestation. Intention is simply arising to be made into reality. And it has everything it needs, all the information. We just can't know when and how it's going to be made manifest. So with a little faith and maybe a sprinkle of doubt, allow your attention to rest on that intention and know it to be possible. And then bring your attention to your breath as you let it deepen a little bit. Giving yourself some long, slow, deep breaths, ideally through your nose. This is great for your whole nervous system and your vagus nerve, which tends to constrict during the fight or flight response. So breathing in slowly and fully, even feeling it down into your belly. And breathing out slowly and fully, even pulling your navel towards your spine. 3 of those long breaths at your own pace. And then letting your breath return to its natural rhythm and depth when you feel complete. So the type of attention we use in this meditation is a loving, gentle, open attention. Just like I'm listening to that dog bark with that. A loving, gentle, like a flashlight or a beam of love and acceptance. So with your eyes closed and your breath natural, begin to welcome the sounds, the environment, practicing that observational quality. Noticing how some sounds are near and others are far. Welcoming everything, resisting nothing. Observing some sounds that are constant and others that come and go. And then noticing the sound of the sounds rather than your preferences around them or where they're coming from. Being the observer. And turning that same attention, that gentle observational attention towards yourself. Noticing in this moment how you're feeling emotionally. What's here? What emotions have you been living with today? Perhaps they've faded, or there's some residue. Notice where you might feel them in your body if you do. Some people feel them in their throat, their chest, their back, their arms, their legs, their belly, their hips. Let's take a survey of the body or observe the sensations in the body with curiosity and kindness. As you begin at the top of your head, and notice what this place we call home, this body, is saying to you in its language of sensation. As you listen and observe and bear witness as you scan your body with your loving awareness, noticing sensations such as heaviness or lightness, coolness or warmth, tingling or numbness, itchiness, spaciousness, whatever is here, taking your attention to your beautiful face, noticing the sensations in your eyes and your ears, your nose and your mouth. All is welcome here. Stories are not helpful right now. Simply observe what's here. Bringing your attention to your throat, your neck, and your windpipe. Noticing movement and stillness. And softening any tension you might be feeling. Letting your shoulders move away from your ears. Let your arms hang heavily in your lap. No need to brace yourself. Maybe noticing those contact places where your back meets the chair or your arms are resting on your lap. As you bring your attention to your torso, your rib cage, your lungs, your heart, all these organs are of service to you. Your liver and your spleen, your pancreas, your stomach. Becoming intimate with the sensations inside you. Into me see. Into you see. What's going on? What sensations are here? Noticing the weight on your rear, the contact points between your body and the chair. Softening your hips, your belly. Noticing your thighs and your lower legs. Noticing where your feet are on the floor, inside your shoes or socks. Notice all the contact points between you and this chair, this earth, this ground, all those places of support. Being mindful now of your entire body. Observing it with loving awareness and recognizing the friendliness of your body, the servitude of your body, the safety of your body. And bringing your attention to the rise and fall of your chest. We can practice the heart-centered breath, where you imagine just behind your breastbone, the center point of you, that big bright star, the seat of your soul, the seat of your awareness. You can imagine, if you like, there's a warm, bright star, whether you see it, feel it, or simply imagine that it's inside you. And each breath increases its radiance. And if that star is showing up anywhere else in your body, that's perfectly fine. And from this center point of peace, you can ask yourself a few questions. This is the self-inquiry practice. The first question you can ask yourself is, who am I? Who am I really? Who am I outside of my roles and responsibilities? What is my nature? Ask yourself a few times. Return to that silence. Whether the question was met with silence, with curiosity, with something you heard or felt or saw in your mind's eye, all of that is perfectly fine. Often the answers don't come in the meditation. Another question you can ask yourself is, what is my heart's desire? do I really long for? And the last question for the inquiry is, how can I best love myself? How can I best love myself? And letting those questions go and any answers that may have met them. Bring your attention to your breath, wherever you feel it most deeply. And let your breath be natural. Having a mindful breath awareness practice. And now, if you like, you can imagine white flower petals of peace, of love, of happiness, of safety and belonging, falling atop of you from the heavens, blessing you like a shower, a rain shower, flower petals of peace. And then imagine that they're sprinkling all around your home and your neighbors' homes, reaching into areas where there may be some quiet despair, some fear, some anger, some loneliness. Simply imagining this blessing that lifts the burdens of others. widening this blessing to include everyone you know, reaching into these hard to reach areas. The silence, the quiet suffering, the fear, the hunger for something that is unknown. Lifting their burdens as you imagine the entire earth being surrounded by these showers of white petals, flower petals of peace and of compassion and kindness, reaching into places we can't go, into prisons, into farms, reaching those that are enslaved or too sick to go anywhere, reaching animals, reaching ecosystems, reaching the poor, the needy, offering a moment of release and relief. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from suffering. Whether you see it or feel it, or simply imagine it, letting your imagination take you wherever you believe there needs to be a little relief. Hospitals, street children in India, those that are suffering in parts of Africa, maybe your family members or your community. We'll do this for another minute or so. I'm going to chant in Sanskrit a prayer. Some of you might know it. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That's the prayer for the peace and well-being of all beings on this planet. Thank you for helping me create a little more peace on this planet. I invite you to keep your eyes closed while I sound the chime, coming out of meditation slowly. Savoring this in-between time, in between the meditation and your waking state. Noticing how you feel, deepening your breath if you like. Stretching into the space around you if you care to. Becoming aware of the sounds around you. I invite you, if you'd like, to bring your hands together in the Anjali Mudra, your thumbs touching your breastbone, and honoring that deepest part of you, that light of love, the love that lives through you as you, that creative intelligence that orchestrates your entire body's movements and existence. And bowing to that same in each one of us, the love that lives through each one of us and calls us forth to be kind and generous, to awaken to our true nature. So thank you for joining me today. It went on and on. I'm sorry, I didn't realize the time. I was in there. Wow. Whew. So Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. I will put that in the chat. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. That's a chant that I used to say every single day, hundreds and hundreds of times a day. I still do, but in India when I lived there, as we sang that and chanted that and imagined flower petals of peace falling over the heads and bodies and desolation around the world. And it does create some relief inside me because some of us feel a little helpless, I think, in the face of suffering. And so this is one way, in addition to that loving kindness prayer, say, hey, I see you, I hear you, I too suffer, and I pray for the well-being of you and your relief from suffering. So that's what that is, looking through your eyes, that loving awareness. It has everyone's best interest in mind, even if your personality gets in the way sometimes. That loving awareness is looking through your eyes, it's looking through everyone's eyes. Sometimes it's shrouded by contraction, fear, anger, competition, feeling not good enough, feeling way better than. But underneath it all is love. So how are you doing? Would anyone like to share how that meditation went for them? Say hello, some chats, lovely meditation. Aw, thanks. The chimes at the end remind me of the ice cream truck. That must be fun. You get hungry, you leave meditation, go have some ice cream. Yummy. What else? Anyone else care to share? How are you doing? You can unmute yourself if you want to. Sometimes I do that and people aren't quite ready for it, but if you want to do it, along the bottom there is usually a menu. If you'd like to share how you're doing, how you're navigating this time. Some of you know that we're going to keep meditating and doing these meditations at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is noon Eastern, which is 5 p.m. European. And we're going to continue with the 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight in Europe. And I can never figure out what time zone it is in Australia, but I think the 4 p.m. they're up for. So if anyone would like to share, we'll keep doing this one until April 15th, but then after that, through May 1st, we'll be doing these, the only 2 a day.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Claire.
This is Claire from Bellingham, Washington.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
Oh, yes, thank you. I just want to say, Sarah, that what you talk about before the meditation touches my heart as much. I'm kind of teary right now with your stories about the man on the beach and the grocery store and how tense people are and how, they may not even have money to buy food. And I just want to thank you for that realness. It's beautiful, for me, because we're all in a real world and this is really going on. And I just appreciate how you bring that in your daily activities, what you see, and how much that man just needed to be loved. And how people use alcohol and drugs because they don't feel like they're loved and they don't love themselves. I'm just hoping that with all this awareness and these really hard things going on, that we're going to work to a better world.
Oh, yeah.
And that people are going to be more aware. And I'm talking a long time, but here in Bellingham, they're really so many people are volunteering at the food bank, and they can't have it set up like a grocery store anymore, but they have lanes of traffic, and people can go through and just get stuff put in their trunk and no questions asked, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
That
So
sounds heavenly.
yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but a lot of people are trying to see things differently.
Yeah, well, that may be what this is all about, starting to reevaluate our lives, revalue our lives, and revalue the lives of others. And, it does bring up the question of mortality. I always struggle whether or not to talk about that on these meditations because I'm not particularly fearful of it. But I know that even with that looming, and, I've been lucky enough to have the virus, so I'm not fearful of it. I know what it is for me. I know what my body experienced. And so I'm very, very lucky. I have enough money, enough food, a home, friends, you. And so I'm feeling really, really fortunate, but I can't imagine the pressures people are feeling and the contraction that people are feeling. And so I just have compassion. And I know a lot more people are going to be in the food bank. That's the thing. Yeah.
And something that we can all do is many of us will be getting some money from the government, and it might be more than we need. Share it.
Oh, yeah.
The food banks need it. There's services for people who are undocumented who need it, and there's really no place to spend it. I mean, how much can you buy online? So
how much toilet paper do you really need?
If you don't need it for your rent and food, pass it on.
Well, I was thinking about, here where all the kids are going online for school. Where I live, there is a population of people that tend to be the workforce, and they are living in tiny apartments with lots of people. And there's not great internet service. People don't have access to the computers. We say, oh, isn't it great that all the kids get to learn online? Well, not really if they don't have a computer and internet service, That's not great. So really thinking about the ways in which we can adopt people or serve these community projects that are serving those people. Because I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to give them my computers. I have a couple here. They're not great. But then I'm thinking, well, they probably don't have internet service. It's crazy. Anyway, I don't want to be morbid, but I also like to be real. And so thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Does anyone else care to share how you're doing? How are you navigating this particular time today?
This is Michelle.
Michelle.
Hi, everyone. So I was a little distracted during the meditation today. But I had to realize and show myself some compassion. I got to do the 9 o'clock and I got a lot out of it. But even though I didn't totally get in the groove with the meditation today because I was busy between the two meditations and I barely slid into my seat right as everyone was starting to close their eyes. Me taking this time to sit still in my chair and listen to your voice, even though my mind was too busy, is going to make my day better and reduce some of my stress than if I had just stayed busy out in the kitchen. I did pause. I did walk away from what I was doing. I did get off from the phone calls with my friends this morning and sit here. And so, yeah, I wish I'd have this totally blissed out Zen thing like I did at 9 o'clock this morning, but I still sat still, and I think that's really important. So, and thank you. I love all these meditations.
Oh, thanks, Michelle. And, just moving from the human doing to the human being is essential during this time. And, every meditation is going to be different, as you have just experienced. Sometimes they're going to be blissful and long, and the chimes sound, you're like, I'm going to mute her. I am not coming out of this. And then sometimes it's like, I cannot wait till this is over. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have benefits, because both of them do. And it doesn't have much to do with your being accomplished in meditation or the leaders that are leading the meditation. It has to do with your nervous system meeting the moment and all that's come up. And it's not just you, it's what's going on in the environment too. So thanks for your commitment to doing that. And whoever you're cooking for, they're going to taste the love in your food. You know, that's really true. If you haven't seen that movie Like Water for Chocolate, if you haven't seen, that's a good movie to watch if you can rent it. Just watching the effect of your consciousness or one's consciousness on the food that they're making. You know, I have a friend, Victoria, who is so lovely, and if I go to her house for dinner, she has told me how much love she's put in every single minute of making that food for me. It's so sweet, and I can feel it. So, you know, your attention and your love and harnessing that and directing it in like a laser beam way can really have a ripple effect. So thanks for being here.